Welcome back to the Gun Collective. My name is Jon Patton. I'm the host of TGC News, and you are...
I'm Adam Kraut, the host of the Legal Brief.
All right, so we get a lot of questions from time to time. We cover a lot of stuff about silencers,
yes.
Especially on TGC News. You cover a lot on the Legal Brief as well.
Yeah.
We get a lot of questions about how difficult it is to fill out the forms, the Form 1, Form 4, all those sorts of things. Guys think that they're super intimidating, right?
Right. It's a government form, so most people usually are not too happy about them.
Right, and Adam and I agree. These are very, very simple things to do. Yes, there is a procedure to it, but it is not a difficult thing. The other thing to note is that besides being an attorney, you have something else that you do for a living.
Yeah, I manage a gun shop, so I'm constantly in there, and one of the things I do is fill out Form 4s all the time.
So Adam knows exactly what he's doing, right? He knows. He's been doing this, especially with the changes with ATF 41F. He knows what's supposed to happen here.
Right.
I'm a little bit of a noob in that regard. I don't fill them out all the time. So what we're going to do today, thanks to our friends at SilencerCo, they provided us with this Suppress Ed. I'm not really sure how that's pronounced. This is an easy guide on how to fill out a suppressor form. So I have challenged myself to see if I can walk Adam, the expert, through filling these out. He's going to know exactly where I get it wrong. I'm going to walk him through filling these out via the Suppress Ed Suppressed Easy Guide. So, let's get to it, right? We've got two sections. We've got individual and trust. We are going to go through as a trust because that one involves a little bit more, but we'll get to the differences at the end.
Don't mean to interrupt you, but one of the things I want to cover real quick on the front of the Form 4, this will always be filled out by the shop. Reason being is it has who it's going to, who it's coming from, the silencer information, which they'll have because they'll have the silencer, including the serial number, their FFL number, their tax ID number, and they actually need to sign the front and date the front of the form. So this should always be filled out. However, if you're dealing with a new SOT, the guide does have information to help guide them along how to fill out the front of the form.
Sure, so this is helpful for everybody then.
Right.
Right, okay. So the first step we need to do is use the example form that SilencerCo has provided to fill out the Form 4, which is exactly what Adam was just talking about that you get from your dealer. All right, so let's flip that open. The first page, Adam, again, you said this is going to be filled out by the dealer.
Correct.
The second page, section 12, it says law enforcement notification. This is where you're going to pick out the CLEO, or Chief Law Enforcement Officer. Wherever your trust is located, this is going to be the law enforcement officer for that. So, Adam, go ahead and fill that out.
Faster! Wait, let me see if I can do this so it'll show up at normal speed. Right faster.
So the next section after that is section 13, and this is actually supposed to be filled out for things like SBRs, SBSs, and things of that nature, not for a suppressor. I'll read it to you. So it'd be I, your name, have a reasonable necessity to possess the machine gun, short-barreled rifle, short-barreled shotgun, or destructive device described on this application for the following reasons. Obviously, a suppressor is not noted there, so you do not need to fill that out for a suppressor. The one below that, section 14. If you are doing this as an individual, that's where you're going to fill out your specific points. However, we're doing this as a trust, so this section is actually going to be on the responsible person questionnaire, the RP questionnaire. So you do not need to fill it out on the Form 4. Below that, you're just going to sign and date. Okay, moving on to the third page here. Section 18, number 18, number of responsible persons associated with the transferee trust or legal entity. Adam, how many people are going to be on your trust?
We'll do 2.
All right, 2 people on Adam's imaginary trust here. And this, below that, section 19 would be where he fills out his name as a responsible person and the other responsible person on his trust. Obviously, if you have more than that, you would want to write those down, but on Adam's imaginary trust, it's 2.
Right. And for those that are wondering as far as who's a responsible person, something you're obviously going to want to check with your legal counsel, whoever drafted your trust, to find out. Typically it's trustees, but the way that definition is, there may or may not be others that are included depending upon how your trust was drafted.
Sure, and we did talk about this in the 41F episode, which was actually the first ever episode that Adam appeared in on the Legal Brief.
Yes.
All right, so let's move on to the next section, the method of payment. You can actually now, when I did this, this was not, you couldn't do this. You couldn't pay with a card. Now you can pay with a card. Most people recommend doing it with a check or money order for the reason of, you told me this before.
Sure. So typically what will happen when you pay by a card, not typically, sometimes what will happen when you pay by a card is ATF will fat finger the keys, get it wrong, and then kick the entire form back to you. So in order to alleviate that being an issue, if you pay by a check or a money order, it gets cashed. You don't have to worry about somebody misentering information, and you know your form is getting processed.
So basically, pay with a check. There's actually a couple tips in this booklet about that, so read up on those when you get your copy of this thing. But after that, you would... that's it. All right, there's the Form 4. That was pretty simple.
Right. So the thing to remember about the Form 4, other than it being pretty simple, is you're going to need 3 copies of it. 2 of those copies go to ATF, and 1 goes to your Clio for the Clio notification, and we'll get into that in a little bit.
Sure. And there are, what's really cool about this is not only they have the example forms, but they have, let me flip to it here, they have example forms as well as blanks. Sorry. So here, blank forms, you can rip these out of here. It's got 2 ATF copies of the Form 4 as well as a responsible person questionnaire, which is cool. It's great that they provide that kind of stuff. There's also some more, but we'll get to that in a minute.
And we'll also include a link in the description to the forms off ATF's website should you decide you want to fill them out electronically.
Sure.
That way.
Which I know somebody like you with chicken scratch handwriting, and
that's what I do.
Mine's not much better, so
yeah.
Printing it out might be a good way to go.
Yes.
All right, so back to our checklist. Use our example form. We did that with the Form 4. You signed it. Make a photocopy, so you've got a total of 3 copies. You did mention that. Go ahead and make a photocopy of your trust documentation. You send 1 of those,
Yes.
with your 2 copies of the Form 4 to the ATF.
Correct, and you never send the original trust anywhere. That one is yours, that notarized copy. Put that in a safe location.
And if you're like me, you probably paid a good amount of money for that, so...
You don't want to send it away because you're not getting another copy.
Yeah, you're not getting it back.
Okay, you're not getting it back.
All right, so you've got that. Identify all responsible persons, including yourself. And now we're going to get into the RP section. So let's go ahead and get your responsible person questionnaire. I'll flip to mine in the example section. Again, this is really cool. I like that they provide examples so that you have context.
Right.
Because a lot of times you're just like, wait, what am I supposed to do here?
You have a visual.
Right, you know what you're supposed to do here. Okay, let's start from the top.
Sure.
First question. Please check the appropriate box, Form 1, Form 4, or Form 5. What is a Form 5 again, Adam?
So Form 5 is used when you're talking in an estate context for law enforcement transfers, which don't apply to us. But when you die, your NFA firearms actually transfer tax-free to the beneficiary of your trust or whoever's named in the will as far as that.
Okay, so we've got the Form 1 is if you're going to make one yourself.
Yes.
And Form 4 is if you're transferring from a dealer.
Or another individual. It just has to be an existing
right.
firearm while you're alive.
Or a Form 5 if you die. And I asked Adam earlier, could I, fake my death a bunch of times? And he said no.
You get one try.
You get one and don't use it early. Okay, so the number 2 here, name of the address of the applicant or transferee. So this is going to be the address of your trust.
Correct.
Okay, so go ahead and pop that in there. So Adam's got Section 2 filled out. We're going to do Section 3, name of the responsible person in question. And again, this is going to be for each individual responsible person on your entity. So he would do this, and in this fictitious one, I'm assuming he put me.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm that smart. So Adam and I would both fill out one of these as responsible person. So he's going to go ahead and write his address in. If I were going to fill this out for myself, as a RP, I would go ahead and pop my address in there. Okay, next, put your telephone number in there, and if you want to put your email in there, you're welcome to do so.
What's the, 8675309?
Yeah. Damn you, Tommy Two Tones!
Okay.
So, after that, Adam's got all that filled out. We're going to move on to Section 4, which is actually the information about the item itself, which can also be found on the Form 4 that we talked about. So on the front of that for reference. So in this case, it's going to be a silencer. So once you reference your Form 4 and get all the stuff popped in there, It's asking for what it is, type of firearm. In this case, it's a silencer. As per the NFA, a silencer is actually a firearm. The address of the maker, manufacturer, importer, the firearm model, which is going to be a Salvo 12, the caliber or gauge, 12 gauge, and the serial number. Very, very simple. Next to that, in section 3E, is where you would affix a photograph of yourself. And then moving on after that is section 5, and that's going to be your law enforcement notification. Very similar, again, to the Form 4, and this is going to be your Clio office of you specifically. Because some people do not live where the trust is, you would need to pick where your local Clio is. So, for example, if Adam lives in Chester County, here in Pennsylvania, and I live in Delaware County, we would have two different things. Flipping over to the back, again, very, very simple. We just got a bunch of questions, very similar to when you are buying a gun with 4473. You need to make sure that you read these questions and actually answer them truthfully. SilencerCo has put in here that you want to...
Suggestions?
Yeah, these are suggestions on what to fill out here, but you do need to be truthful here. That's not even a signature. Like, who are you kidding with that?
It changes every time.
All right, so he went ahead and signed and dated, and that's your RP.
Right.
So let's go ahead and flip back. Is there anything you want to add? What did I screw up there?
Well, you didn't screw up anything. It is just worthy of noting that there's going to be two copies again, one for ATF and one for your chief law enforcement officer, because that gets mailed to the Clio.
All right, so referring back to our checklist, we did fill out the RP questionnaire.
Yes.
We did talk about the passport photo,
Yes.
which you can get a few different places like Walgreens, and I think the U.S. Postal Service used to do it in some locations.
Right, and again, it's a passport style photo, so you could even take one at home if you use a blank background.
Sure, it's just got to be
passport
pretty clear.
style, yeah.
And then obviously it's telling you to make a photocopy with the passport photo affixed. And then you would use our example forms to complete the FBI form FD258S.
And those are fingerprint cards.
I'll flip to them here. So obviously we don't have the ability to do that right here and now. What do you recommend as far as fingerprint cards go? Because this is, again,
Sure.
one of the more intimidating parts of this.
Right, so fingerprint cards, the first thing to notice, it's got to be on that particular fingerprint card. If it's not, it's getting kicked and you're done right there.
And this is an FBI form.
Right, it's an FBI fingerprint card.
Okay.
The second thing to note about it is the fingerprints don't have to be taken by law enforcement. They just have to be taken by somebody who's qualified or knows what they're doing. So you can even roll your own at home. However, if they're not done correctly and FBI can't read the fingerprints, they're getting kicked back. So
what do you recommend in that case?
Usually we send our customers to the local law enforcement agencies.
Okay.
Some UPS stores may be able to do it. It's going to vary area to area, but you know, there's plenty of people who have been rolling their own for a long time, and it's no different then.
Okay, so obviously the fingerprint cards, it tells you, you know, what you need to be concerned about, blah, 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 blah. Okay, back to our checklist. We're almost done here, actually. Identify your chief law enforcement officer, your Clio.
Which we already did.
Yep. Write a check for $200 in the case of the suppressor to the BATFE, and use the included envelopes to mail your completed paperwork. And this is one of the things that I thought was awesome. They have a checklist here on what to mail who. So you got one for your Clio, right?
Yep.
And this is individual and trust. So basically it's like here, if you're an individual, you do this. If you're a trust, you do this. Same thing with the ATF, individual and trust sections. They've got envelopes for you to send this stuff away. This one is blank.
Because they don't know who your Clio
Right.
is.
So basically, this is what you would send to the ATF. This is what you would send to your Clio. And is that it? I think
Pretty
that's
much,
it.
yeah.
I think that's it. You would then have to wait some silly amount of time. Unfortunately, that varies. You know, we get a lot of questions about that. You know,
We as of right now, today, when this video is being filmed, we have no idea, because prior to 41F going into effect, there were 6 months of people sending out all the forms they could ever possibly want, and that continued to climb and climb and climb. So after 41F, the sales of silencers, at least, and I'm sure other NFA firearms in general, has slowed down. It'll give ATF time to catch up, but we have no idea currently how long that processing time is, because we're always looking at it from the past. So previously it had been 4 to 6 months, and that was looking at trends from 4 to 6 months ago.
Right.
As that paperwork goes up, that trend is likely to go up.
So,
however, I always tell people that are on the fence about it, the best way to do stuff with NFA firearms is to buy it and forget you bought it. Reason being is because it's a great feeling when all of a sudden out of the blue you get this call, hey, come on in and pick up that new toy. And yeah, you know, you're out some money in the beginning, but it's well worth the wait. Silencers are a lot of fun.
Yeah. SBRs, SBSs, you've done it all, right?
Yeah, and you know.
Adam's got a few.
Yeah, anything that's NFA is a good time.
Yeah. So that was pretty easy, right?
Yeah, it's not a very hard process, and you know, most of it's just being intimidated by something you've never done before.
Right. Guys, I think it's important to note that SilencerCo is doing a good thing here with this guide. You can actually go to their website and get these. I think they'll send you a hard copy for like just the cost of shipping. You can also get them at a bunch of gun shops. Did your shop have them yet?
I ordered them. I don't know when they'll be in.
Okay, so shops are getting these as we speak. We just got one of the earlier copies so that we could show you guys.
Right.
I think it's a good thing to continue educating people and especially provide them with everything that they could possibly need to get this done.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, that's a good thing. So as always, guys, if you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. And where can they go now?
They can go to theguncollective.com.
And that's under the friendly fire section. There's a section where you can actually submit a question on the website. It's pretty
awesome.
cool. Yeah, it's, pretty happy about that. So as always, guys, of course, thank you all for watching. I know Adam thanks you as well. Be sure to check out The Gun Collective where?
On Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Full30, Snapchat, and wherever else you can catch us on social media.
And as always,
thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.